Hello everyone, and happy Wednesday. No, Tuesday. It's only Tuesday. I just got a message saying that my microphone is muted, so please do let me know if the sound is okay. I think I'm okay. I think it just meant my computer because I've got my standalone microphone, but you just never know. You never know these days what those messages mean. And of course, it always happens when you don't want it to happen. So, welcome everyone. I hope you are doing well tonight. We are here for another episode of Learning Live. We'll get that out of the way. And we are going to play tonight with something that I've had an awful lot of fun with. And that is Concord and 9th Turnabout stamps. Just want to make sure everybody's tuning in. Please do let me know if you can hear me okay. Got some weird things happening, so who knows? Who knows what's going on? Could be something in the airwaves. If you are tuning in, please do just jot a hello in the comments. Oh, there's Joanne. Hello, Joanne. Again, let me know if you can hear me because my microphone said it was muted, but I can see from my controls that it's not, so hopefully we are doing a-okay. On this Tuesday night, what a beautiful sunny day we had today. But here we are in the evening. Matt just went out for a walk. I'm jealous. I wish I had the opportunity to go with him, but maybe tomorrow night. Tonight, as I was saying, we are playing with Concord and 9th Turnabout stamps. These are a super fun way to create some really interesting backgrounds. For tonight, we're making this one here. It's called Bitty Burst. It's probably one of my favorites. We used it last year in the fall, maybe even earlier. I can't remember. We used it with our group in St. Mary. So friends, if you are tuning in from the St. Mary's Scrap-a-thon, you probably recognize this. And then we also did play with it at both Scrap Fest this year as well as our most recent Make and Mingle last week. But our in-person friends got to enjoy this demo. Now our online friends can enjoy it as well. I'm going to start by showing you a couple of images because, in my infinite wisdom, I left all of my Turnabout samples at the store. So Darlene very graciously took me some photos. But my plan for tonight is that we're going to make this card. I will show you the basics of using the Turnabout, and we will finish this card, which is using my awareness ribbon die from Spellbinders. It's National Mental Health Awareness Month, so it is a great time to really be talking about this kind of stuff. But we likely will have some time to play with some other ones. So for those of you who are tuning in, we've got a bunch of you on here. I'm going to have you jot in the comments. Hello, Judy. Hello, Joanne, Donna. Ellen, Joanne says you can hear me. Excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. Kim, hello. Never know whether I can hear me. I just don't know if you guys can hear me. So anyways, the plan is I'm going to do at least one more. So the Bitty Burst to start with, and then at least one more. But I'm going to show you some of the samples first to show you some of those things. And I want you to jot in the comments which one you'd like me to use for my second Turnabout. So here we've got three smaller ones. The Bitty Burst is another smaller Turnabout stamp. And we've got this really fun mini spirograph. Creates a really pretty background. It looks kind of like a daisy, which is beside it, but the mini spirograph has the little dotted lines, and that could be a lot of fun. We do have that daisy, which, when I show you this actual stamp, it doesn't look anything at all on the carrier sheet compared to what it looks like in real life. And then there is the confetti. So those three are mini ones, and that's similar to the Bitty Burst that we're going to be using. But then there are some beautiful floral ones. So we've got Rosie Lane that is kind of a, I'm going to call it a folk art kind of look to it, but it can look really fun with some different colors. We've got Wild Meadow, which is very rustic, and it gives you that the leaves and the foliage and the flowers. And then we have the Artisan Petals, which is a very artsy, freeform, almost abstract kind of look. We also have Celebrations, which is a bigger version of that confetti one. It does cover the whole pattern paper. The plaid is a lot of fun, especially as we head into Father's Day coming up. I know I've got some guys in our family that have birthdays coming up that plaid works really well with. And we have Postmarked, which for all my planner people, all of those vintage people, that one with the little postage stamps has been quite popular as well. And one last set, this is actually one set. It is called Star, but the set has two different stamps. One that does the center stars, so that smaller area. One that does that outer frame, leaving the inner area blank. Or if you use both of them together, then it will, then it will create that full background. This one is a little bit more complicated, so probably not ideal for tonight's purposes, but please do jot in the comments if you have a preference, whether it's any of these three: Celebrations, Plaid, or Postmarked. Where's the next one? Rosie Lane, Wild Meadow, or Artisan Petals, or one of the little ones, which is the mini spirograph, the daisy, or the confetti. If you're thinking about it, just jot down which one you'd like to see. Ellen says there's a bit of an echo. Okay, let me try something here. Is that better? Let me know if that is better. Don't know why the settings changed, but typically this is a scene that I use only on Wednesdays. I don't typically use it on Tuesdays. So, okay, we got to vote for the Star Outer. We've got to vote for Postmarked. Anyways, think about it. I'm going to switch right over to my desktop camera now. Ellen, please do let me know if the sound is better, and let's get creating. Okay, I'm going to cancel this message that I keep getting, and let's get going. All right, so let's start right from the very beginning and talk about what is included or what you need in order to do a turnabout stamp. We'll come back to this a little bit later. We are making this dotted background with the bitty burst. So what I was showing you in those overlays is all of the different stamps. And like I said, the bitty burst and those first three are smaller ones, so they fit very, very easily on an A2 card, which is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Some of the other ones are quite a bit bigger, so I do recommend doing it on a bigger piece of paper first, and then you can trim it down. Do I have all of the packaging? Let me see if I can pull one of these larger ones out. All right. So yeah, same thing on the back here. They do have a photo, and Concord and 9th is one of those companies that has some of the best packaging out there. So with anything you buy Concord and 9th, I would recommend that you do keep the packaging. So this one, and the same with the bitty burst, it steps it out. When you stamp it one time, what does it look like? When you stamp it a second time, what does it look like? Third time and fourth time. And if you need extra help, there is a little QR code that will take you to a video. Now, sometimes the video is very specific to the product, and yes, I used, I think, red and purple on this one, which is why it is very badly stained, but just as usable, so no worries there. but that'll take you to that video. So you do need a stamp, and that is what's going to give you your different patterns, your different backgrounds. But before you go anywhere with the stamps, you need a Turnabout jig. What is a jig? Well, it is a sticky mat, essentially. But there are some very clear markings on here. Let me peel this off to see if I can get rid of that glare. So it has this X here, and this X is really designed to help you line up and position your stamp for the first time. Once your stamp is positioned on your stamping tool, and you do need a MISTI or a stamping tool of some sort in order to make this work. But this is the thing that's going to move your paper and move things around. And we're going to go through all the layers and all the different steps to do this. And there's some other markings on here which I'll talk about in a second. But when I talk about packaging, and this is another thing, you're going to keep your stamp packaging, but you're also going to keep your jig packaging, because inside is a step-by-step instruction on how to line up your stamp, how to get it in your MISTI properly, how to prep your paper and get it all stamped on here. And like I said off the beginning, I did some turnabouts with our St. Mary's crew probably a year ago, and then I put it all away. And when I dug it out again to plan for Scrapfest, I'm like, I don't remember how to do this. It's not hard. Just sometimes the memory just needs a little bit of extra help. So if you keep this Learn to Turn guide in your little folder with your jig, then you have nothing to worry about. Now this one does not have a QR code, but if you do go to the Concord and 9th YouTube channel, there is an intro to Turnabouts video there as well that will go for any of the stamps. Now, Concord and 9th Turnabouts have been around for a fairly long time. We dabbled in carrying them in 2019, so even before the pandemic. And then we kind of walked away from it, especially because we felt it was something you needed to kind of get hands-on to learn about. And then we have come back to it, and they have really evolved and changed and made this so much better. But if you still have the old ones in your stash, don't worry, you can still use them. These new tools will just make it even easier. Okay, Alan says as long as it's purple, any turnabout is good. Well, I do have purple ink here for you, Alan, on this first one. So don't worry, we're thinking about you. Okay, so we're going to get started, right? And we're going to pretend that we're going, well, not even pretend. We are literally going right from the very beginning. Now, this is a smaller one, and typically I would do it on a full panel and then die cut it afterwards. And you know what? Maybe we'll do that. Then we'll do the one for the card. Then we will switch the stamp. I think that might be a little bit more self-explanatory. I also have some 5.5 by 5.5 white cardstock cut for those larger ones. But it'll also help me kind of show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to pull out my jig. I'm going to pull off. There is an acetate cover for it because it is sticky. It is a sticky mat, and you could just use this as a sticky mat in your MISTI. Hang on, I'm going to get a darker color too. That might be easier for you to see. So there are the grid lines. There is the X, which we will talk about in a second. And then if you look really carefully, there is an outline for putting your A2 panel on. So that'll be very important in just a second. Excuse me. Lastly, let me see if I can zoom in here just a little bit. If you see up here in the corner, there is a little number 1. Over here, there's a number 2. Whoops, get down on camera on number 2. There is a number 3, and there is a number 4. This is what's going to help you keep track of how many times you turn about on your MISTI. So to get it started, I'm going to put it so that the number 1 is in the top right corner. So the top right is always something that is important. Now, in addition to the stamp, actually, let me put this up here on my, oops, getting magnets and dies attaching to my magnets. Sorry about that. Get these out of the way. Get this acetate out of the way. There we go, so I don't lose it. In addition to the stamp and this handy little carrier card, there is also a clear plastic acetate template that comes in every stamp set. So they've labeled everything, like this is totally foolproof. So this side up, so this is the side that you're going to put at the top. We've got a center rotation point. So they've drawn the X on here that is going to match our X on here. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to have to pull it closer to me just so I can get it lined up properly, but then I'll hold it up to the camera. And again, apologies if my head gets on the camera. You get to see all the silver highlights in my hair. All right, so here I have laid, maybe it's over here. Ellen says this is great for those who get distracted easily and forget what she's done. Absolutely, and we'll talk about that as we craft along. So I have matched that X with the X on the jig. Next, what I have to do is take my stamp set, like so. It is well loved, but I'm going to peel it off the carrier sheet. Now, we want that sticky backing to be on the top because it's going to attach to the inside of our MISTI. So this is probably the hardest part of this whole system, is getting your stamp lined up with your template. And I think I've done this properly. That, yeah, you know what, I kind of cheated. I'm not going to lie, I kind of cheated and made sure I had it the right way before I came on camera. But I just matched the images from the stamp set, and that's one of those things that you just kind of have to see. But there are those black marks on the template, so I have just lined everything up. Okay, so now I'm going to put this inside my MISTI. If you have your magnet for your MISTI, just tuck it out of the way. We do not actually need magnets for this at all. So I'm going to put this in my corner here. My number 1 is still at the top. Maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit and come up. So my number 1 is in the top right corner. My template is still down. My stamp is still down. I'm going to close it over, give it a rub so that it sticks well, and then I'm going to peel it up. And it's okay if it lifts up. We're not making anything yet, but there you go. Now my stamp set is in the position that it needs to be in order to do our stamping. So I can peel off my template, put it back over here. I have a paper clip. I just don't want to lose it because that template is integral to how this all works. So now this goes back in the home station, as I call it, and I'm going to dig out just a piece of white cardstock. And like I said, I have cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 already, so it's perfectly going to fit an A2 card. Absolutely, you will have the opportunity to trim it down, to die cut it, to do whatever you need to make your card when you're done. Right now, we're just making the backgrounds. And what I do recommend is, if you're going to go to all of the trouble to get these out, to get this lined up, to get it ready to go, make a whole bunch of backgrounds. Don't just make one, make a whole bunch, because it really doesn't take much of anything once you've got it all set up. Our mantra for tonight is going to be stamp, clean, rotate. And I don't know if you saw my social post, but I tend to do a little bit of a dance. And this is going to go to Ellen's comment as well about getting distracted, getting lost in what you're doing. If you do that, stamp, clean, rotate, stamp, clean, rotate. You're going to be hearing my voice as you're doing it, but trust me, it will absolutely help you to keep the rhythm going and keep this playing along. So first time around, I'm going to take it step by step, but then the second time that I do this, I'm actually going to do it on a piece that we pre-die cut. Didn't want to get out the die cutting machine, didn't want to take the die cutting machine to Scrap Fest, so we did that already, and I'm going to show you a little trick with that, but by all means, you can absolutely start with a full panel and be good to go. So for ink tonight, I have 4 different colors of 49 and Market ink. You guys know how much I love these colors. The other thing and the main reason why I chose this is because these are what I have in full size pads. Most of my other inks are in the little mini cubes, and I just find stamping on a lot of these, I found the minis were a little bit messy. They got ink where you didn't really want ink, and the larger size pad is just easier. You're going to get a lot more coverage a lot faster. Shelley says, and a little bit of a workout too. Yes, so we're going to stamp, clean, rotate. So of course I have green jean. I have Tranquil Waters. I have Twilight for all my purple lovers. And I have Pink Lady. Now, typically when I do this, I like to go from light to dark. So I've just kind of ordered mine here in approximate light to dark. That way, if for some reason I am not as diligent as I want to be about cleaning, and say I leave a little bit of ink on there, by the time I get to the next color, it's just going to cover it up. So let's start with our Pink Lady, and I'm simply going to ink this guy up, get lots of good coverage, and remember, you're in a misty, so if you don't get good coverage, you can always stamp it again. So there we are stamping. Station number 1, stamping it over onto our paper. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on here. I'm just rubbing it to get coverage on all the different areas. And when I look at that, it's pretty pale. The more you stamp with it, the more seasoned it's going to be. But the beauty of this being in your misty is you can stamp it again without any issue. So this is the same color going in the same spot. And sorry if I am jiggling the camera. So there we have stamped, and that's starting to look beautiful. What's step number 2? Clean. So tonight I am using my Hero Arts scrubber block. I do need to put a new scrubby pad on it. I'm not sure if these have come in yet. I have reordered. We sold out at Scrap Fest. But these work wonders on these Turnabout jigs. So you have this little Velcro pad. One side is fuzzy, one side is Velcro. It just goes on your block like this. Press it in. And then what I'm going to do is I've just got a little bit of water. I'm going to spritz my pad. You could spritz the stamp as well. Doesn't matter one way or the other. But this just gives it a nice clean without having to worry about your baby wipe shredding, whether your stamp chamois is close by. And it generally isn't too wet as long as you don't use too much water. So you don't have to worry about putting... Got a little black spot on there. Sorry, speaking of getting distracted. You don't have to worry about putting stuff on top of it and it getting ruined. So, stamp, check. Clean, check. Now we're going to rotate. So we are going to go clockwise 1/4 turn. We're not moving the paper. We're not moving the stamp. All we're moving is this jig, which is our turning device. Now, lots of times when we've been doing this as a make and take, for whatever reason, people have had an inclination to go counterclockwise. That's okay. if you happen to be someone who goes counterclockwise, as long as you go counterclockwise on all 4 turns, it's going to be fine. But I'm going to go the way the numbers, so there's a number 1, and I don't know, let me see if I can zoom in again. Don't know if you can tell, there's the number 1 and a little arrow. The arrow is pointing to the right, which means you are going to turn to the right. So turn to the right 1 turn. We now have the number 2 in the top position. Tuck it into your corner, and we're going to pick color number 2. And we're simply going to repeat. We're going to stamp. Bloop. And this is where you want to do kind of a visual check. If you're putting this down and it's going to go over top of a color you've already stamped, you know you've gone the wrong way. If it's going to go down on strictly white paper, you're good. So you can just go ahead and complete that impression. Lift it up. I think I'm going to do one more because I can. All right, so we're going to do this. So I've stamped. Spritz. By the time I get done, I shouldn't have to even spritz it. There'll be lots of water on there. Cleaned. And let's rotate. Next color. Kim's calling it card Zumba. Oh, I love it. Next thing you know, I'm going to be, it's going to be stamping to the oldies instead of sweating to the oldies. We're going to get our headbands on and our leg warmers. So let me bring this over, do a visual check. Yeah, you got my head on there. I know I'm going down in the right spot. Give it a rub. And then there we go. So there's 3. Now, this Bitty Burst one is one that if for some reason you only wanted to do 3 colors, and honestly, you probably could get away with only doing 2 colors. This one is very forgiving, and you can absolutely do that. So if you, and this is not meant to be offensive, all my purple lovers, but say you had an aversion to purple and you didn't want to do the purple, you could stop right there. On that one that I was showing, let me see if I can come back here. Not that one. So this one in the middle, the wildflower. If you were only to do 3 colors, you would have stems without flowers and flowers without stems. So it's not something that I always recommend. You do have to kind of know, you have to know what your stamp does. So the first time you do something, I do recommend doing all 4 turns, but then you can get to know what your stamp will do and how many colors you can really get away with. Again, with something like this, and actually probably for many of them, if you really only wanted to do 2 colors, you could do like a pattern, do A, B, A, B. So say you did blue, purple. At least that way you get them staggering a little bit. But you've got options. You've got lots of fun to play. All right, so I have stamped that 3rd time. Let me clean my 3rd time. And I know that I'm going on to my 4th color, but I'm only at station number 3 here, so I need to remember to rotate that 1 time. Stamp, clean, rotate, and take it to the right. All right, yeah, getting a little carried away with the metaphor here, but hopefully you guys are laughing with me, not at me. All right, so we're inking up that purple, getting some good coverage there, and spin it over. All right, and maybe a little bit more. And yes, there is a little bit of overlap on some of these. That's okay. That's what it's designed for, creating that burst of dots here in our card making. Sheila says it looks like a donut with sprinkles. Absolutely. So there you have it. That is our first go round with the Bitty Burst. When you're done, you simply peel it off your backing, and away you go. You could cut this out, you could leave it as is, you could cut it in half and do something really fun that way. Lots and lots of options. Let's now do it one more time, but I am going to use this one in my kit here. Actually, let me clean first before I forget. Just get that all cleaned off. And my jig is back in station number 1. Now, like I said, because I already pre-die cut this, I bet you're wondering, well, first of all, wondering how I get the Ziploc bag open. There we go. I bet you're wondering, well, how do I know where to put this? Because if I put it up here, it's going to be too high. You know, there's always the risk that you're not going to get it perfectly centered. Well, I made a little cheat here. And this is a reason, this is one reason, and the mass production is really another reason why you may want to have more than one jig in your stash. Because then that way you can, again, you could do multiples, but without cleaning in between. So you could do, if you had 2 jigs, you could do 2 rounds of the pink, then 2 rounds of the blue, and so on and so forth. But my cheat for this is I took my cardstock and the piece that I cut it out of, I have put it here on the jig. And I did a little bit of finagling to make sure that it all worked out perfectly centered on that piece. And I've got some little landmarks here so I can just fit this right in here. Now again, I'm going to say definitely easier to do it the way we did it the first time, where you just do it on a piece of paper first and then die cut it. But this is just my extra little bonus tip because I already had these cut out. So here we go. Stamp. And you know what? That looks a little bit off. This is where you're going to trust the process. We're going to trust the process because you sometimes have to do all 4 of those turns before you really see it build that full circle. So where I just had a little tiny mini heart attack, I'm trusting my process. We did this last week and everybody's circle lined up perfectly. So I'm going to have faith that this is going to work. So stamp, clean, rotate, check. Stamp. We're going to clean, a little bit more water. And that's all I'm using is water. And rotate. Green. You don't want too much water on here because then your inks are going to start to run a little bit. And that could be a whole technique, but that's not what we're going for tonight. Stamp. I should have checked. I did not do my check, but good thing I am following my little song. And look, that's already starting to feel a little bit more centered and a little bit more balanced. Clean. And rotate. And look how easy that second round is. You know, we've done this once. We trust the process and we know it's going to come together. All right, so there is number 4. And there we go. Beautiful. Perfectly centered by the time you do all 4 turns. Now I can just pop this off and it is ready for my card. I'm going to put my acetate back on here so I don't lose it. That also helps keep your sticky grid being sticky. If this starts to lose its stickiness, and this is what I did after Scrapfest, little bit of dish soap, gentle dish soap, give it a little scrub, get rid of all of the lint, shake it off, and then let it air dry. It'll come back good as new, nice and sticky for what you need. Okay, so this is all ready to go. I'm going to clean this off. I'm actually going to take this off and put it away because we are going to switch to a different a different stamp in a second, but I want to finish this card first because we are a little bit, well, we're past the halfway mark. Just cleaning off that extra little residue that was on here, and I can give that a good proper clean afterwards. Put my stamp set back on here, and I will put that away. So let me tuck this away also so I don't lose it. The next key part in this card, so we've done the turnabout background. We're going to finish this card, and we are using my awareness ribbon. And that is this set right here. So you can choose any colors that you want for your ribbon. There are 3 main pieces. There is your left arm, your right arm, and then there is a connector piece. And then this also has little inserts if you want the word strength or the word hope added to it. And then look at all of these amazing sentiments. Just so many words of encouragement. And tonight we're using the one that says sending courage wrapped in a card, because that's what we do. We're card makers. We are making this card for someone special. So when it comes to the ribbon, I'm going to zoom in so we get a little bit closer here. The connector piece is literally the glue that holds it together. Not showing up super well on the camera, but there is an embossed line here and an embossed line here. If you look at the 2 arms, you've got a curved piece at the top and an angular piece at the bottom. So this curved piece is going to line up with that embossed line to make your ribbon like that. This one will do the same the other way. When there's no words, it does not matter which arm goes on first. And the thing I kept telling people is make your arms go wide. Almost like you're giving a hug. You're going to make your arms go wide. If you try to be too much like this, it's going to look a little wonky on that connector piece. People made it work and you could trim, but the idea, this was designed so that your arms go wide like a hug. Okay, I'm going to get out my glue. How I do this is I put a little bit of glue in this corner. I put a little bit of glue in this corner. And then I simply, typically I have my tweezers. All right, so this one's going to go on here. I just give it a little squeeze until it sets. And then because I've done enough of these, I know that's kind of where the center is. That's going to be where these 2 arms connect. Like this. So keeping my arms wide, glued in the center, and easy peasy, just like that. So now we have all of our pieces ready. I can go ahead and finish up this card, come out just a little bit so you guys can see. I'm going to take just some tape runner. I'm going to take my Bitty Burst circle, tape it down, and I want to put it towards the top. So we're going to put it towards the top so that our sentiment can tuck down under here like that. And my glue is, not flowing super well, so I'm going to switch glues now that I've got it everywhere. Just some little bit of glue. Come on. Maybe I need to go back to my tape runner. My glue is just not cooperating tonight. Make sure my words are the right side up. This is going to go in the bottom here. And this guy can just go a jaunty angle, like so. I've got my little flower. Now it looks like this one's got a little bit of extra paper in here, so let me just snip that little piece out. There we go. So I'm going to use a foam square to pop that up. Position it off to the side. So one of these flowers, these are from the Be Bold Blooms set. They are definitely a set of flowers that I use a lot, especially with this ribbon. Just gives it a little bit of extra something. I'm going to take a gold gem and pop it here in my flower. And there we go. So there is our finished card. So that's just one of the many ways that you can use a Turnabout stamp as your background. Okay. Now that the main event is complete, let us go and do another round of turnabouts. Like, what's sticky? Oh, it's my jig. That's sticky. So let me go back in the comments. I think we had a couple of people ask for postmarked. One person asked for the mini spirograph, and Ellen said the stars. Since we had 2 votes for postmarked, let's go with postmarked. That one's actually one of the older ones as well. Not quite so old as pre-pandemic, but definitely one of the older ones in the series. So it doesn't hurt to go back and do an older one as well. Okay. Clean up, putting all my stuff away so that we can get this back out. So here's my Misty. This time I do want one of the larger cards. So I did not do 6x6. Your jig is 6x6. So if you did 6x6, it would cover your entire jig, which not a horrible thing, but then you do lose your numbers. So I did mine to 5.5 by 5.5. That just seems to be just the perfect size for that. Postmarked. I saw it earlier in here. Here we go. So here is my postmarked Turnabout. Again, also very well loved. I am going to grab my template, and that's the piece that's going to go on first. So again, forgive my head if it goes on camera. Sometimes I do like to put that white underneath. Actually, no, I don't. I want this one. I want the black. When I go to put the stamp on, sometimes I like the white underneath so that I can see the black lines. So this side up at the top, center rotation point here, lining up. And again, watch out for the silver highlights. There we go. This one's going to be a little bit easier to line up the stamps because there really are only certain ways that you can lay this on. So I will pull my backing, and this is a really big stamp. So we're going to pull. Gently just kind of roll it off your backing. Pop. Okay, so I want Sent with Love. Again, please forgive. Get that lined up. Get the hearts lined up. And once you kind of get one side lined up, the other side should just fall into place. Now this one's kind of a weird piece because it's a little wing out there. So just make sure it's laying nice and flat. I don't need the paper. Here we go. Everything's lined up. And it's interesting. Don't stress about this. Your biggest thing is to make sure that the X lines up. My acetate is actually all the way over to the left, but short on the right hand side. I'm not going to worry. I just need to make sure that that center point is straight and lined up. All right, so this is going to come over here, and there's my jig. There's my template. This can go back in my packaging so I don't lose it. And now I just need to put my paper. Lining that all up there. Making sure there's one square around on all four sides. Do you want me to change colors? I know Ellen said she wanted purple. Let's see what other colors we've got. My inks are all buried over here, so let's do Lavender Kisses as well. So there's 2 purples. Let's do Daffodil, looking very spring-like. And then why don't we do, so Ellen says maybe some red. There's that one there that is Pink Sands, which is a paler one. Or actually, you know what? That's no, I like the way you think there, Miss Ellen. So how about that? Okay, let me get this in light to dark. And let's see where this goes. So same mantra, same approach. Stamp, clean, rotate. We're going to start with Daffodil. And with this one, because it's bigger, because there are more areas that are spread out, you do have to kind of be methodical. So I like to kind of just go around the clock, if you will. But the beauty of the Misty is that you can stamp again if you missed something. So again, a gentle rub. We are just a smidgen off the side here. So in hindsight, this might be one that I might even go the full 6x6, knowing that I know. Ellen says if we don't like it, it's a card for someone not in the favorite circle. Well, there's that, or there's always the other side of the paper as well. So that one's a little bit blotchy here on this one. Again, let's just do a good coverage one more time. And there we go. Now, one other thing I'm going to call your attention to, and this is for any time that you are using the Misty. When you do make and takes, when you are the teacher at a make and take, you notice a lot of things that you never thought of before. When we were doing this as a make and take, I noticed that a lot of people keep their hand underneath their lid when they go to ink it up. And I'm going to caution you against that, because what that does is it actually puts stress on your hinges. And we have had a couple of customers who have done that and actually broken their Misty. And I mean, that's a pretty hard thing to do. But you always want to make sure that this platform lays flat so that you're not putting stress on these hinges. So I'm trying very intentionally to be nice and flat and wide open. And I encourage you that when you're using your Misty to think about it the same way. Try very hard not to stick your hand under. Don't be lazy. Pull it out, lay it flat, and ink it up in that position. All right, so let's give this a clean. So we've stamped. And we've cleaned. So now we're going to rotate. And we're going to go into Lavender Kisses. So just as a little enabler alert, as we talk about 49 Market, Matt we received at the store today 2 brand new collections from 49 Market, plus a whole bunch of mini kits as well. So if you like the 49 and Market Papers, go and check out the May new arrivals. If you don't want to be enabled, don't. Just stick with me here and we're going to continue on. So here is our light purple. Not too bad. Let's do one more round. Stamp, clean, rotate. Do this over again. This is actually, I mean, I know we're in May now, but this is going to look very Easter, very spring-like. Ooh, look how pretty that is. All right, let's clean up our stamp. And rotate. Now into the darker purple. And if you have to twist it a little bit to get some good coverage, you can. Sometimes I find that leaves twist marks though on the image. So I would rather pat it than twist it and have to do it a second time. Okay, this one seems to be the one that's given me the most problems here. Let's get up there. Everything else looks pretty good, but look how pretty that is. And this is another one that, because we are not completing images, so there's no stems without flowers, flowers without stems, we could just leave it like that and have some white space in there. But you know what? If we're going to get all of this out, let's go ahead and finish it off. Okay. And one last rotation. Yeah. It's hard to tell because this stamp got used with the red. It's very well loved. So that red ink isn't showing up very well, but I know it's on there. I know it's on there. All right, let's close it over. Wow, that looks really nice. Donna says she has forgotten how to have used it and you missed Thursday. Well, Donna, we are happy to help you. If you still have your jig, pull that out because it should have the instructions, and if not, come and see us. We can take a photocopy of one of our instructions as well. All right. So there is that final one. That turned out really pretty. All right, so there you have it. Just about right at the top of the hour. Alan likes it. Alan loves a well-loved stamp. Let me clean it before I forget. And like I said, once you get going, once you've done it once or twice, it really is like riding a bike where it comes back to you, but definitely keep that instruction guide, keep those things handy, check out the videos, and don't be afraid to waste a piece of paper, because really that's what this comes down to. This is ink and paper. You're not wasting stickers. You're not wasting expensive supplies. A little bit of ink and a little bit of paper will take you a long way. So if you're someone like Donna who has turnabouts but maybe hasn't pulled it out in a little while, there's your homework. If you have not actually tried them, well, come and see us or go and search turnabouts, all one word. Let me see where did my, turnabout there is all one word. Search them up, pick one of the small ones. They are super easy, and then maybe graduate to some of the bigger ones. Not every month, but most months, Concord comes out with new ones as well. So there are a few that I haven't even played with and made samples. I'm looking forward to doing that. And it's another thing that's great to do in front of the TV. If you are maybe not feeling full project mode and you just want to do something crafty, These turnabouts you could just sit and stamp them out, play with different colors. Now that is something that I would recommend that I did do on my samples, is if you're not turning them into a card right away, or maybe you're just swatching them out to do some samples, write the color names on the back. Just take a piece of pencil, write them on the back, because 3 months from now, when you pull this out to use it and you want to match your cardstock to it, you're not going to remember what those colors are. So write them on the back. It'll help you remember those color combinations that you love. Or maybe the ones that you don't love. And that way you don't repeat it. All right. Heading out for the evening. Don't forget what's new tomorrow night. And enjoy the warm weather, the sunny weather that seems to be coming our way at last. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Thanks, everyone.